We've returned to Mannar in Perseus the Probe, victorious from our mission to find CV molecular condensers, AV yet to come, but we have brought with us literally nothing. The risk of losing all of that salvage and those molecular condensers in a gate camp was just too large. We said if we found them, we were going to drop them off and then come back and pick them up in something more agile. And that's just what we're going to do. And then we're going to start packing. We've been talking for a long time about moving out of Manar, finding somewhere new to operate, somewhere with better resources, better access to the sort of content that we want to run. Today is the day. Today, we leave Manar behind. But first, we're going to leave Manar behind for a much shorter period of time as we go pick up all of that exploration loot in something custom made for the job. This is Bill. Bill wants to build a Cynabal and join the Angel Cartel cause in Zarzak, but he's not making it easy on himself. I would like to introduce Aaron the Atron. He is going to be the star of this whole show. Yes, we've built an Atron and we have fit it for travel. This fit is designed to travel through even the most dangerous parts of LowSec while minimizing our risk as far as possible. Not to zero. Remember, you cannot reduce risk to zero, but this fit is pretty darn close. Probably the most important feature of this Atron fit is this 1.97 second align time. Sub 2 second warp, they say. To understand why this is so important, you need to understand something about how Eve's servers work. The Eve servers update the state of the game world between all of the clients on a 1 second tick. Things can happen in less than 1 second in Eve Online. It's not a turn-based game, but for some critical parts of the game from a multiplayer perspective, when something happens, it's not considered to have really happened on the game world until the next 1 second interval passes. Most notably for our purposes right now, this includes warping from gate to gate. When you click warp to next gate, the game server begins your align to warp at the next whole 1 second interval. Your gate cloak drops immediately, but it takes 1 whole second for the server to tell anyone else who's on grid that an Atron is decloaked. So at the point that you appear on their overviews, you're already 1 second into aligning to the next gate. And you will enter warp at the next whole second interval after you have finished aligning. Which means that if our align time is 1.97 seconds, then we'll be on someone else's overview for 1 second before we're into warp. If our align time was 2.01 seconds, we would be on their overview for 2 seconds and lockable for that whole 2 seconds before we entered warp. So when you're looking at align time, it's actually, you want to be below a whole second interval. And for entering warp from Gatecloak, really, there's no difference between 3.01 and 3.99. They're both going to be functionally a 4 second align. So there's 1 second. There's 1 second that this ship is going to be visible and theoretically lockable on someone else's overview. But when we're talking about realistic assessments of risk and realistic methods for risk mitigation, let me tell you, I have warped thousands of times through LowSec in frigates fit up for sub 2 second align, and I have been caught and locked on gate 1 time. And it was an Abazon. There's a couple systems in Eve, like Abazon, like Rancer, like Tama back in the old days, where these kinds of truly try-hard gate camps are likely to be found. And generally, in the rest of space, you're not going to see anyone even trying to catch a 2 second align ship. So we're not going through Rancer. We're not going through Abazon. This feels totally safe to me on gates. Not perfectly safe, easily safe enough. But then a shuttle is also uncatchable on gate, so why aren't we just flying a shuttle? Well, you'll remember when we were bringing the Cynabal blueprint back from Null in that shuttle, I was so paranoid the whole time about smart bombs. A smart bomb fit Proteus will do about 2100 to 2400 damage. A smart bomb fit Macariel can do 3000 damage. Absent absurdly expensive officer smart bombs and other like really weird considerations, the most damage a single ship is going to do in a single smart bomb cycle is 3000 EM damage. EM smart bombs do more than the other damage types for some reason. And they're only going to get a single cycle off. Smart bombs take between 7 and 10 seconds to cycle, and in that time we will have jumped or will be off grid. So it's that one 3000 damage smart bomb cycle that we need to worry about. That's more than enough to vaporize a shuttle. But a frigate can fit modules. It can fit tank. So we have a medium shield extender, we have a damage control, and that brings our EHP up to 3700. Now we have to look at PIFA to make sure that we also have enough EHP against EM specifically, and we do. Against EM, this fit has 3300 EHP, so we will survive a single smart bomb cycle from basically any ship in the game. Well, of course you might ask, what if there are 2 smart bombing Macariels? Well, in that case, we just die. The risk can't be 0, but it's pretty low. The chance of running into 2 smart bombers on a single gate working in concert is a lot lower than the chances of running into 1 random smart bomber. So this is a really big safety step out from a shuttle. It's safe enough that we're going to feel comfortable bringing almost all of our BPOs with us to our new home. It's safe enough that I feel comfortable flying this right now over to Mimitar Losec to pick up all of that Mimitar salvage that we got, as well as those molecular condensers that we worked so hard for. We're going to go pick them up, we're going to bring them back, and we're not going to die. Now, you might notice on this fit that there is 1 empty rig slot still. That's not an accident. There is a rig I want to put there, and it's going to make us even safer still, but we don't have the blueprint for it yet. We'll pick it up on the way. Small hyperspatial velocity optimizer 1 blueprint, 125,000 ISK. Okay, we're going to grab it all. But then, just in case the absolute worst happens, we're going to leave 6 of these condensers behind. So even if we do lose somehow, against all odds, if we lose Aaron the Atron on the way back to Mannar, we'll be starting again from 6 CV composite molecular condensers instead of 0. We've made it safely back to Mannar with all of our loot from Mimitar Losec. So let's sort through this 296 million ISK of value here. We have 9 molecular condensers. 9 molecular condensers. They go into our Cynabal materials container. We have some salvage. That's going to go just into our hangar for now. And then we've got this stuff. Well, the hyperspatial velocity optimizer blueprint, we're going to build immediately into the item hangar. The ligature, we're probably never going to build, but you never know. So that goes into the item hangar along with the high-tech data chip. And the rest of this, the 229 million ISK in value that's remaining, goes into junk. 483 million ISK of stuff that Bill can never use or sell. That would buy a Cynabal, I'll tell you that much. I think it would buy 2. And now, before we properly begin packing our suitcase for the long journey to what will become our new home, it's time for a little flashback. We've been talking about this upcoming move for weeks now, And in that time, I've been doing a little bit of preparation behind the scenes here in the Mannar area to tie up loose ends and prepare us for the journey. Okay, we need to build another thorax, but I've decided that we're not going to build it here in Mannar after all. We've been talking about moving to another area of space for a while, and transporting a thorax blueprint is a lot easier than transporting a thorax. But I don't want to carry the thorax BPO halfway across Losec and risk the run of losing it to a smart bomb camp or a traditional gate camp. So we're going to figure out how to make a copy. We can copy our thorax blueprint and then bring the BPC with us. Much lower risk, BPO stays safe here in Mannar, or truthfully, BPO stays safe next door in Mormelot where there are research facilities. So we're going to put the thorax BPO into Angela, and we're going to jump over to Mormelot. All right, so we're going to open the thorax blueprint up in the industry window. We're going to look at blueprint copying. So to make a copy of this blueprint, which would allow us to build 10 thoraxes, which hopefully is more than we will ever need to build, would cost us 54,000 ISK and to be done in less than a day. This seems optimal. In fact, it would mean, now that we've moved the blueprint, the one jump over here to Mormelot where there's a copying facility, we can keep this thorax BPO here forever, never take it out of station again, and just make copies if and when we ever need them. But it occurs to me, given how hard it's been for us to get tritanium and pyrite in Losec, maybe before we copy it, we should be researching it. So to research it to level 10, efficiency would take 118 days. So we're obviously not doing that. But there's a bit of an exponential growth, I believe, in how long the research takes. Yeah, so if we do it to level 5, which will give us a 5% discount, it'll be done in a day and a half. Okay, I think we can start the thorax researching, and then in 1 day and 13 hours, we'll come back here and we'll start that researched version of it copying. Okay, so our thorax blueprint original has finished researching up to 5% material efficiency. In the industry window, we click on the copying button. Here we go, blueprint copy. I don't imagine we're ever going to need more than 3 thoraxes where we're going. So we'll make 1 copy of 3 runs to start, and we'll start it. Okay, time to quickly check on our progress towards enriched uranium. We've got 2,236 precious metals, which should be far more than we need. And we're in warp over to Mannar 1. Enriched uranium en route. Our oxygen fuel block has finished researching to the +10 material efficiency. We're going to deliver that. We've got the thorax copying right now, but we can start one of the others researching. We only have 2 slots at the moment. So let's start our helium, same as before. Costs 644,000 ISK. Take 9 days. Let's go. Okay, we have a fully researched oxygen fuel block blueprint. Let's bring it back to Mannar and see if we can't actually get a fuel block building. Okay, we're going to drop off the fuel block blueprint and we're going to hop into Lydia because we need to still pick up that uranium, that enriched uranium that we were building on the lava planet before we can actually start building our fuel blocks. Hopefully that should be the last piece of the puzzle. Here it is. I launched up the rest of the consumer electronics that was sitting on the lava planet as well, just because we could end up having a use for it. You never know. All right, oxygen fuel block. Are you ready? Look at that. Okay, how many oxygen fuel blocks do we need? 65. We need 65 oxygen fuel blocks. That is 2 runs. Start. This is real progress, you guys. We're actually building one of the intermediate components between raw materials and a Cynabal for the first time. Oh, and while we're at it, we've now got all the enriched uranium we need. finally, so we can throw that up there. PI is actually truly checked off, and some fuel blocks are on the way. I feel like we've reached a real inflection point in our total journey. We might be approaching the halfway point of this entire endeavor. Remember that small ancillary armor repair blueprint that we found? I'm excited about that module, but it requires nanite repair paste in order to use. And nanite repair paste is also just useful in general because you can use it to repair damaged modules in space when you can't dock up. The nanite repair paste blueprint costs, I think, 50 million ISK, so we're not going to buy that right now. But at some point in the future, we almost certainly will, and in the meantime, we can start getting ready to build the nanite repair paste, which is built entirely from planetary industry products. Building nanite repair paste requires gel matrix biopaste, nanites, and data chips. The nanites we can produce entirely on K-bar, and I've set K-bar up to do that. The gel matrix biopaste requires oxides, superconductors, and biocells. The oxides we can make entirely on the gas planet, and we've set it up to do that. The biocells we can also make on K-bar, and soon I'm going to switch K-bar from making nanites to biocells. The superconductors require plasmoids, which we can get from our lava planet and have been extracting there now, and also water, which we can get from almost anywhere. Then to make the data chips is where it gets tricky. The data chips require super tensile plastics, which we're making on the ice planet, but also microfiber shielding. And microfiber shielding requires both autotrophs from a temperate planet and felsic magma from a silicon planet. We don't currently have a temperate planet, so we will need to get a new command center. And we do have a lava planet, but in fact, Mannar 1, if we look at it, has 0 felsic magma, 0 density. So we're going to require a temperate planet and a new lava planet. And with a little bit of searching around, I have found both of those in Adil, the system 2 jumps away on the other side of Olai. And the temperate planet, if we colonize it, can also act as a factory planet to actually build our gel matrix biopaste and our data chips. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pick up a temperate command center and another lava command center. Temperate command center, 81,000 ISK. Another lava command center, 81,000 ISK. Okay, so we haven't actually started any production yet on our new lava or temperate planets and Adil, but we have the command centers built. We haven't finished building out these new colonies because that takes ISK, and we currently have 900,000 ISK. There's a Cerberus in a Serpentis yard here in Adil. I want Adil to myself. I'm going to see if I can just scare him off by warping it on a site in Carmela. This is admittedly a bit of a dangerous play. Editing room voiceover here. I'm obviously out in Carmela because I'm trying to earn a little bit of ISK through bounties, because flying halfway across the map without anything in my wallet seems like perhaps an ill-considered idea. He's warped off. Now is he going to leave system? He did. Good. It's funny how you can like chase a Cerberus out of a system by just showing up on grid in a catalyst. And now we've got the belts to ourselves, which is great. A Cerberus is a Tech 2 assault cruiser. Obviously more than a match for a catalyst under ordinary circumstances. The thing you have to know about flying around an Eve is that when he's running a Serpentis yard in a Cerberus with his mobile tractor unit out, he is going to be fit entirely for PvE. And I mean, so am I. But he doesn't know that. When I warp into his site, his first thought's going to be, oh, this guy's tackle, and the rest of his friends are going to be showing up any minute now. So even though on paper a Cerberus should never be afraid of a catalyst, a lone pilot in almost anything warping into your site is something to be scared of when you're PvE fit. Whoa! Someone has summoned the swarm here. Don't like that. And we're dead. Oh my goodness. So this... Well, that's quite funny. And they're gonna pot us too. So this fleet of diamond blood raiders means somebody attacked that blood raider mining fleet, and then the high-level blood raider response fleet came in and presumably killed whoever was there before. Oh, and it was just waiting for us. I suppose that was inevitable. Inevitable that we would warp into an asteroid belt where a diamond rat fleet was waiting for us. I'm really sad that Carmela had to pay the price. That's frustrating. We had so much good meta modules on Carmela. I mean, we've got backup catalysts. It's not that much of a setback. Oh. That's sad, though. Do not mess. Do not mess with the diamond NPCs. I didn't know they pawed you. That's pretty funny. Our helium fuel block blueprint has finished researching, and our thorax blueprint has finished copying. Means we've got the copy to bring with us on our upcoming outing. And it also means we can begin researching our hydrogen and nitrogen fuel blocks so that they will be ready for us when we return. Hydrogen fuel block blueprint. Research to 10. We cannot afford to begin researching the hydrogen and nitrogen fuel block blueprints. Costs 1.2 million ISK per blueprint research. We have 783,000 ISK. Our last two fuel block blueprints will need to wait for us to return wealthier before we can research them. In case you're concerned that we might forget all about Mannar and never come back, the same way we forgot about Dysa and wherever it was we lived before that. Herald? We have taken steps to ensure that it'll be easy for us to come back here and play with all of our old toys, including those 9 catalysts that we still have yet to whelp into the maelstrom of PvP over in faction warfare space. No, coming back to Mannar is going to be necessary to build our Cynabal, but it's also going to be something that we want to be able to do a little more easily than that. And so I have trained Infomorph Psychology, and we have a jump clone here in Mannar. So in fact, when we get to our new home, returning here for a day or two to do whatever business we want to do in this area will just be one click away. And now Aaron's fit is complete. By fitting this small hyperspatial rig, we have increased Aaron's warp speed from 5 AU per second to 6 AU per second. This of course makes the travel we're going to do a little bit faster, but more importantly than that, it reduces the amount of time it takes us from when we finish aligning to when we accelerate off-grid, and it also reduces the amount of time when we are warping to somewhere that we appear on-grid, on overview, before we drop out of warp. This has the effect of, first off, letting us sneak through before people have realized there's something they might want to smart bomb or lock, but also it makes the timing more difficult for smart bombers, so that if they see us warping gate to gate in an Atron, and they know that an Atron warps at 5 AU per second, it is the case that people will use, as crazy as it might seem, people will use that knowledge to calculate the exact moment when they should trigger their smart bombs. By being just that 1 AU per second faster, it's less likely they'll be able to get ahead of us to catch us, but if they're waiting for us, if they have a scout with eyes on the gate, we will throw off their calculations of when they should be trying to smart bomb us. And finally, in the unlikely case that a T1 frigate is chasing us gate to gate trying to see where we're going, we will just be able to outrun it and leave them behind. So this fit, in its totality, is going to be our perfect low-sec gate runner. And it can carry 145 cubic meters. So we are going to have to pack light. This is it. Our bags are packed. Our destination is set. We are prepared to head off to new horizons. So let's see what we've packed in those bags. We have to travel light, but we're not traveling that light. We are bringing with us virtually all of our Blueprint originals. 62 million-isk in BPOs that we don't want to lose. And a 3-run Thorax Blueprint copy. We are also bringing with us all of our salvage. Every last drop of it. We're going to be able to get minerals relatively easily at the other end in the way that we usually do, but we don't want to have to be salvaging straight away in order to start putting rigs on our ships. So we're just bringing all of it with us. And speaking of minerals, we will be doing our usual loot and reprocess Bootstrap once we're there, but we're also bringing with us 2 of these warp disruption field generators and 1 500 MN micro warp drive. We have 3 of these field disruption generators, but they won't fit. They're 50 cubic meters each. And fortunately, the 500 MN micro warp drive is also pretty dense in minerals. And we're also finally bringing with us Horatio, our good luck charm. Who knows whether Horatio will get a chance to ride again in the new systems that await us. But at the very least, he will be there by our side. And this is it. I was thinking that we were going to have to fly there in something like an Atron, bring all of our stuff as safely as possible, and then come back and pick up a couple of ships. There was a time when I imagined our eventual move involving coming back to get Thomas. And then I was still imagining that we would come back and we would get Carmela because she was fit up with the right modules and everything, and we could probably fly her through LOSEC safe enough. But no, we don't need to get Thomas. We don't need to get Carmela. We don't need to bring a probe. We've got everything we need for a fresh start in Aaron's Hold. And so this little beauty here is Bill's whole life packed up for the road. Off we go. I invite you to post a guess in the comments of where you think Bill's destination is set to. If you're the first person to guess the exact system name, and you post your comment before episode 28 goes live, I'll contract you a Cynabal for my main account as a prize.